Welcome to the Erect posture presentation. Today's presentation is a question. The erect posture or posture correction. Do you do an exercise or do you use that posture correction? Posture corrector. Which will work, which will show the best results in the long term? That's the question. Thank you for coming. Now, I want to thank my teachers in orthodontics. State University of New York, Buffalo, Sunday. That's because in designing the erect posture, I took it on like we were trained to teach straightened teeth with logic, and so that we allow with science and logic and as its background, and in that way we straighten teeth. Okay, so I take on the body in the same way. I'm going to try and show you through this one example, okay, how when there's more than one choice, orthodontics will tell you use logic to figure it out. So I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank the person for you who sent you here for sending you. I want to give you a special thank you if this is your return trip. Please subscribe, ring the bell, thumbs up, tell a friend, a family about the site. And when we get through, give me comments. Let me know how does this hit you? How does it feel to you? How did you get into it? Because this is experiential. Talking about anything other than what it feels like. I'm interested, but I really want to know, how did you learn? How did you get with the experience of sitting up straight? These are the 7 steps, and this is what I started with. And it's from these are chakras, from the chakra system. These are 7 levels of the chakra system, and those are the 7 levels that we teach with. Okay. Why does posture exercise correct better than shoulder strap exercise? Shoulder strap wearing. Posture corrector. So that I already tell you what my answer is. When I talk to people about posture, I'm asked if shoulder strap posture correctors will work. The answer is no. The shoulder strap is designed to hold the shoulder in the correct position as a posture trainer. The question is, will wearing a strap holding the shoulder in the correct place give the same results as a person with erect posture, where habitual muscle contraction holds their shoulder ideally? The answer is in knowing a spinal muscle reflex that gives 2 different and opposite responses dependent on the site of origin of the stimulus. When you know by experience these reflexes that we're talking about, that reflex, or those reflexes, you will know how to address your own unique needs. So my name is Dr. Gwen, and what I'm telling you is I'm going to use yoga and this site to teach you or to show you how you sit up straight and show you how a strap couldn't possibly do the same thing. Okay. This is an exercise system, which means you're going to learn an exercise, and the exercise is a seated exercise. So just take your seat, get comfortable in your seat, and now let's start using that seat as your only prop. The prop you need to learn the erect posture is just a chair. So let's know the rules before we get started. You're in a chair, and now let's just know the rules of correction. There is no pain, there is no gain in pain. So if this hurts you, the whole goal behind the erect posture is to eliminate pain that comes and the poor alignment. First, to eliminate the poor alignment of your spine, which we call erect posture, and then by that, if there's any pain, to take you away from pain. So if it's causing you pain, something's not right. Don't do it. You're not ready for this. Your body can't do what I'm teaching. The only exception is if you're doing it too hard. So I need you to know that posture is a soft muscle contraction. It's not power. It's not endurance. It's posture, which means you're supposed to find a position that's held very easily, softly, It's just the knowledge of how to hold it is what I'm imparting to you. So except for level 3, which is where we give you the breath, that's the only time you can use hard forces. Otherwise, get there and go soft. I hope I don't look like I'm forcing myself into this posture. This is my relaxed posture. There is a forced one, but this is my posture. Okay. Number 3 is we're not trying to reach a stiff rod position. We're trying to reach a position that's sort of like a range. So there's a flicker movement that you do when you really have, after you've gotten your position, when you're doing your exercise, then you move in it slowly, softly, in fine movements, okay? And it's not 1, 2, 3, 4. It's haphazard, it's a flicker, okay? And then finally, how you use, after you learn the knowledge, how do you use it? You use it in 7 breaths, 7 times a day. So in here we will show you how to breathe. And then what you do is during your day, 7 times, just do 7 breaths. And just like physical therapists give you so many repetitions of something and knowing that that will make a difference, I'm telling you, 7 breaths, 7 times a day, and you'll start having the experience of sitting erect, and the ability will grow for you. It will change you. To get started, like I say, there's 7 levels. We start at the first level, which is the chair. The problem with the chair is if you use it wrong, you can't get right. And the wrong and right is your knee, your whole knee has to be below the seat you sit on. Below that. It's got to be a downhill slope of your thigh. To show you what I mean is there's my thigh. There's a desk parallel to the floor, and you can see my thigh is going downhill. That's what you have to get. You have to get your thigh going downhill. To get that happen, you can be in a taller chair, which I'm in, but the way to do it in most chairs is extend your feet out from your chair. The symbol for this one is a square, and the points of contact of the square for your base is your 2 feet and your 2 ischial tuberoses. So you extend your feet out so they become part of your base, and you slide to the edge of your chair. And what you want is your ischial tuberosity or your sit bone. You feel it contacting your chair at the level of your gluteal fold, and with your thigh able to slide down here, which means you're at the edge of the chair, but you're securely on that chair. So it's like that. The other way of doing it is you can cross your ankles or your shins and then let your knees drop out. That immediately drops your thighs downhill. If you don't believe this one, just go with me, and I tell you, after you learn how to do it, try sliding back into your chair, and one day we'll explain why this works, but slide back in your chair and watch. You will not be able to get that. You can only get this if you're at the edge of your chair and your thighs are going downhill. And yes, I can explain that, but you know, this, we're trying to control the length so that you want to come. So try that on your own time. Once you're on the chair, that was level 1, you have your base established. The next thing you want to do is you need to balance your bowl, and your bowl is your pelvis. The pelvis means chalice, it means bowl, and it is a bowl. And what that bowl contains is the peritoneal sac, and that's a sac that includes the large and small intestines, the liver, and the stomach. Those are the large organs. There are smaller organs in there. That sac is slippery next to those organs, and those organs are slippery next to that sac. And so what we have is we have the bowl of the pelvis containing a slippery bag of guts, and we're balancing those guts inside that bowl so that we're like a child carrying a bowl with a liquid in it or fluid type material in it, and we're trying to find the point at which that bowl doesn't let that material dump. The positions that we have to, our bubble, okay, is we've got to find a position where you neither rocked back on your pelvis, rock back like that, because that rounds your back and that traps your gut in between your ribs and your pubic bone. So you don't want to do that, and you don't want to roll your stomach so much that your gut drops down and the lower back gets into too big a curve. All during the time we're doing this, I want you to find this position. Put your hand like that, like you're carrying a bouquet of flowers, you're carrying a trophy, or you're carrying a big stem mic. And you just put it in your lap in this particular case. This is to control your shoulder so that you don't get involved in cranking your shoulder around. And so I'm controlling your shoulder while I get you to do whatever I do. Now, here's what you're going to do now. You're going to rock between these two. Because if you look at this, the pelvis, the top of the pelvis and the bottom of the spine have a joint. And that joint, the angle is known, and what's ideal. The problem is ideal is determined by x-rays, and you can't do it with x-rays. So we're going to go by feel. And the way you're going to do it is you have your hand as I just described, and you're going to rock forward on your ischial tuberosity now. Remember, you're on your ischial tuberosity. If you don't feel secure, just go back a little bit more, and then you're going to rock forward until you feel your gut dump. And when you get through rocking forward, rock back until you feel your gut trapped between the two, okay? And rock forward and rock back. And now you're getting to feel the difference in dumping and slumping. You're slumping here when your tailbone goes to the chair. You're dumping here when your gut falls out. Okay, go to the point where you know you're dumping. And then roll back slowly and stop when you feel you're catching your gut and just beginning to slump. And then go back and and try to miss going all the way to dumping your gut. Get just before you dump your gut. Find that just before you dump your gut. And then to make sure you're in the right place, start slumping from then, and then rock between the two until you feel like you need to dump it a little bit more and you dump, a little bit more and you slump, and choose that position. Once you have chosen a position, note where your ischial tuberosity is on the chair. That will get to be a standard for you. And therefore, I don't rock and slump and dump. I just sit. And once I sit, I know I've got my place where I want to be. Okay? Okay? And I push that point into the chair. Once you've gotten that, let's move to the next point. The next point is where we start using muscles of action. And I'll tell you what I mean. This is the core. This is where the fire can come. This is where we do our breath. And I need you to know how to read this one. It is a triangle, and the front, the flat part, is this part of your stomach, and it's supposed to be soft, which is just the opposite of everybody's training for the core. They think it's rectus abdominis. It's not. Okay. The muscle we want to address is out here on the side, and he's called transversalis. Google it. See, I'm telling you, which is the muscle most important for avoiding back pain, which is the most important abdominal muscle for core development. Transversalis, and then they'll say multifidus, which is the spinal muscle that sits right in that area, right behind the spine. It goes from one spinal joint to the other. Okay, so now we got to find that transversalis though. And here's how we do it. It is the muscle that makes your waist as small as possible. So what you want to do is take a breath by contracting your stomach muscle as hard as you can. And then relax. And then strength as hard as you can. And then relax. And then as hard as you can. And then relax. Now by now, you're beginning to feel there's a muscle right in there that is doing this, making it as small as you can. Make your waist as small as you can. Now what I want you to do now is try and target here, that muscle right there, and hold it tight. Even though you're just going to breathe normally now. And if you lose it, do a tight breath, locate it again, and then try and go back to soft abdominal. It's the ability to hold those two on the side that we're trying to address. We're trying to get, because it is your waist cincher, your waist nipper. If you've ever bought a waist nipper in order to control your waist, I'll tell you this is your natural one. And if you want to develop your waist, if your waist has gotten out of control for you, this is the exercise to do, and this is when you do it with fire. When you're trying to get your waist under control, your 7 breaths are like, okay? Once you think you've got it in control and you're learning how to hold this, because at the end of it, at the end of your 7 breaths, you let go of this, but you keep that tight. You're trying to learn to keep that tight at all times. That's the goal. So anytime we're doing this, you may lose your position. You may, on your sit bone, you may lose anything. When I say go back and collect them again, and I'll say make it strong at the waist. Hit that muscle. That's all I'm telling you to do. You don't have to cling to the front, but you got to cling to the back. You got to learn how to fire him up. You've got to learn how to keep him engaged, just like you've got to learn how to keep your sit bone on the chair, and you got to learn how to keep your thighs going downhill. You've got to learn how to hold them tight. That's level 3, and that's your core. And that will get stronger and stronger as you exercise. And that's the one you want to get to know in that area. And once you learn how to do that, notice that when you have that held tight, you can feel your lower spine active. It activates this area of the spine. There's a muscle that activates that, and that's the transversalis. So to make your core strong, or your lumbar spine get the curve it's supposed to have, you have to have the bowl level, and then you have to get this muscle to tighten. And once you tighten it, feel your lumbar curve establish itself. Feel the tension in there as well as out there on the side. The next muscle we're going to go to, that was level 3, and that was the bowl. Now we're at the heart center, and it is 2 triangles. It's 2 triangles, and that's in the instructions. And I think I've been complicating things, but here's how you do it. Level 4 is you're going to widen from here to here. So hold your hand here again. You can pull it up to, I like it in this position when I get to level 4. When I'm in 2 and 3, I like it down here. But now I like it like this, so that I'm like a singer or about to sing. Okay, my shoulder is in the right place. Okay, so that I don't activate my shoulder, even though it looks like a shoulder move being done. So all I want you to do is widen between your shoulder blade, right between your armpits, right in this area, just on the rib cage, right in this area. I want you to go wide. Watch it. Wide. The whole goal is, the triangle is widen here. Widen from here to here, widen from here to here, like that. When you did that, I'm sure you felt a muscle in the back become active. Okay? Then the next move is widen the lower ribs, right here. Widen it. And when you widen it, and your hand is here, widen it. And when you do that, you feel a muscle up top. That's how you get the spine right. You get the spine in the thoracic area by activating this muscle, the muscles in this area, and the muscles in that area. Now, I know the name of the muscles, and I'll share them with you. But the brain doesn't. So it is important that you know it's just the move that the brain will organize for you. If I tell you the muscle up in the top that gets that to widen is a chain. This is pectoralis minor. He is pulling up and out, and then the lower fibers of the trapezius is engaging the spine when you do this. That's what you're feeling. That's what you're feeling. But if you tell the mind, the brain, that you want to tighten pectoralis and you want to tighten that, that's not communicating. That's not talking like the brain talks to muscles. You have to know the move. So the move is here, and the move is there. At the same time, I'm level and I'm holding this tight. Okay? Widen here. Oh, and what is this one? The one widen down here? That's anterior, serratus anterior, and he passes along the message to the spine to activate by getting the rhomboids to take the message. That's how you got those. You got a message from, you got the spine to contract because you wanted to widen that. What we're trying to find is the muscle activity that requires the spine for it to happen. In other words, there's no other way I know of that will get this area and that area of the spine to contract, but and do it alone. Nothing else going on. Once you tell it to do that and that, it talks to the muscles that run the spine, the ones that erect the spine. It talks to them directly. But you got to speak like the body knows how to speak. Widen here, widen there, and now feel your whole spine active. If you got that tight and these tight, all of a sudden your spine is beginning to align. You're finding the muscles that align your spine. Okay? So we got our spine right up to here. Let's get the next one. The next one is a rotary motion. Here it is. When I see people whose spine is good right here, and then it bends and the head goes forward. Okay? That's what we're about to take care of now. We've got all that wide, and now we're going to get the spine right. I mean, the upper, the juncture of neck, of the cervical spine and the thoracic, the neck and the thoracic and the rib cage area. And it's a rotary motion. A lot of people are doing it like that. No, just rotate your head back like that. On an upright spine. Get all your other points right. And then roll back. When you roll back, you get an extra lift right here. Right there. And the muscle and you get another sensation. When you roll back, you feel this area tighten, right? Right here, because that muscle is active. But you also have translated your body into a very upright position, and it's like the lower, this is the muscle. You don't need to know the muscles, but here it is. Serratus posterior superior. Once he pulls your head back, the serratus posterior inferior, you will find it activates too. So here we go. Now pull everything. Transversalis. Widen lower, align the lower ribs, widen the upper ribs, roll the head back. Your spine is active and straightening out now. We just got this area to straighten. The symbol here is a circle within a circle. And if you want to look at what that is, before you did this, your head was like that. And so it was like under here was pulled that way. Because that's what that looks like. Do it like that. And what you've done then is, it's a transition point, but what you did is you put when you're like this, the larynx and trachea are sitting out ahead. Once you lean back, you've pulled the larynx and trachea back into the neck, and the neck is now going up straight. Okay? That's what we got right there. Okay? And now the next move, that was 5. You got the windpipe inside the muscular neck. That's what that symbol is. The windpipe is inside. Enclose your windpipe. The windpipe is inside your muscular neck. Okay? And if you have neck and shoulder pains, that pain that sits right up in that area, I assure you that's a head forward position, and this is the way to start alleviating that pain. And then once you do that, level 6 is just leave that neck like that and drop that head. Just drop the eyes on the horizon. I don't know the muscles. This is just hold. It's like drop. And when you do that, it's like you're lifting you. Then you've gotten your head held high. You're holding your head high, and you're beginning to the final stages. That's called eye on the horizon, and that one is pretty. It makes a pretty profile. It gives that look, like that look of self-confidence. They call it the royal posture. When you get your head like that, it's called holding your head like royalty. I've heard it described like that. So you want to get that look, but to get that, you have to hold that and then just drop your head, right? Once you do that, I'll tell you, pull up on your stomach, because again, you're getting a higher balance, and now lift up on that area just below the navel. Make that come in. And now you're beginning to lock this in. And finally, I can't demonstrate it for long periods, but put your tongue in the top of your mouth and let it spread wide. Put it in the roof of your mouth and let it spread wide, so you start training your neck to go back up and give you that good clean angle between neck and chin. And at 82, I can't get it as clean as somebody 50, but I'm doing pretty good, and it's getting better. So, okay, your eyes on the horizon. Make sure you pull up here, and then the final one is 7. Is now you're at the crown of the head, and now we lift. You pull that in as hard as you lift. Pull the lower stomach in and hit all your points and go soft there now. And now that you're soft, it's when I want you to go flame light. And it's like flicker. But don't make it as rhythmic as that thing makes. That says I can make a movement from here. I can make movements from here. I can make movements from there. I can make movements at the seat. But the idea is I make movements, and then I go inside and feel what I'm doing. Go inside, make movements, make them small, but all the time, feel yourself pulling up at the crown. Make that top like that flame that lifts. A flame defies gravity. It goes up, defy gravity. Push into your sit bone. That anchor, push that anchor into the chair, and then lift yourself on your uprightness. You are this cable, and you are lifting, and you're going to move. And now you're just going to breathe slowly. Listen to the click of the clock. Exhale for the same number of counts as you inhale. Push and attend those points I told you to attend to. And lift and get higher. And feel your neck and your spine long. And do it softly now. Make everything as soft as you can, but as precise as you can. Now that we've done that, experience it. Let me know what it's like. Okay? Let's move on. I want you to record your changes. What I've just taught you will make a difference in your body. So record it. One way I want you to record it is your camera, your phone is a camera. Okay? Put that camera on the side of you and take pictures of yourself sitting slumped like you usually sit, in your favorite chair, where you work. Record how you are when you're unconscious. And then record yourself in your best posture. One of the things they call it mirroring, I suggest you do is run that camera during one of my lectures. And then watch yourself as you sit yourself up. and watch, and you can improve. I'll tell you, what you're looking at is, I have cameras. I have TVs around me. And I can watch myself to make sure I'm teaching you what I want to teach you. And I learned from this. I've always had a three-way mirror or a camera on me as I've learned. It has shown me what I'm doing so that I know what I'm doing more than just feeling it. I can see it. Do the same thing for yourself. And then look at it, listening to the sound. And I hope I'm saying the words enough so that when you are not looking at my illustration, you can still do it. And then watch yourself and record yourself and watch yourself change. It's like orthodontics. Any recording you do of yourself, do it every 6 months, every 6 weeks, really. Every 6 weeks, check on yourself. That's how often we check orthodontics. Don't drive yourself crazy and do it daily. Do it every 6 weeks and just watch yourself change as you learn. Next thing, and record and print one of those, and we're going to use it down here. Print it, and on that printed surface, locate all your pains and describe it as much as you can. And in time, you'll understand your pain, because your pain matches where your posture wasn't right. And therefore, as we get your posture right, that's the logic behind it. If you got back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, I'm saying it's gravity that's caused it, it's poor posture that caused it. As you get rid of that, I expect your pains to go. Record your pains, because you'll forget them. So record them for a month and then set them aside. Okay. Next thing, and review. Waist-hip ratio. I tell you, if you do the breathing that I'm telling you to do 7 times a day, 7 breaths 7 times a day, you will get a change in your waist-hip ratio. Your waist will get smaller. I don't do anything with your hips. Your hips are your weight. So that means even if you gain weight, your waist-hip ratio should change as you get control of that waist. So watch your waist-hip ratio. And if you want to read up on that, just Google waist-hip ratio and find out the medical implications of bad waist-hip ratio. The next thing is, if you have an imbalance, and here's an imbalance, you got a scoliosis. One side's high, one side's low. Because you're using exercise, and the only thing a muscle can do is contract, the only side you can address is the side that's the longest, the one that's up high. Let me show it to you. Let's say this is balanced, straight up and down. And yet I got this. I can't push with the muscle. The only side I can work with is that one. So I can tell myself, put a little bit extra energy on this side, and slowly, as the balance of those muscles changes, I should get you more upright. So that's how you use what we're learning. Okay, let's go to the question now. Can a shoulder strap correct posture? I'll tell you, I got a theory. If that's irritating you, you'll back off from it. But in the long run, no. And in fact, if I wanted you to do it, I'd make that so that scratches you. And then you'd say, but you couldn't do that very long. So no, that's projected not. And let me tell you why. This is body orthodontics. This is the reason I was thanking my orthodontic teachers, because one of the things they taught us is that when they came to you, you were supposed to know how many ways, I'm correcting this, and what mechanics did you use? And you say, I'm using this mechanic. How many ways did you know you could do it? How many other ways did you know you could correct that? You list them, and they say, now defend why you chose that one. Okay. Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm saying doing my exercise where you align these chakras, right? Is the Erect Postures presentation to this fight. Body corrector coming against the Erect Posture in black and white versus body corrector straps in black and silver. Let's duke it out. Okay. If you heard me at the start, there are reflexes. I enjoy reflexes. I remember reflexes from my freshman year in dental school. I was fascinated by them. I was fascinated because they said there's rules that if you know what the rule is, you know how that game is going to be played. You know who's going to win. So let me introduce you to a reflex. Okay? The one that that is at the bottom of all the confusion on whether you can use something else to get you in the same place as exercise. The thing at the base of that error is called the reciprocal inhibitory reflex. And the first one I'm going to present to you is when I was teaching you how to do it, I told you the move to do. And in fact, I told you that I can't even tell you the muscle and get you to get it right, because that's not how the brain works. The one we're going to use is reciprocal inhibitory reflex from volition. That means from the brain. Okay? Inside the brain, there are 3 motor cortex, motor centers. I can name them for you because it's written. Primary, premotor, and supplemental motor cortex. Okay. That's about as good as I can give you, except I can tell you that by the time a message gets sent down to the spine to tell you to do what that said to do, they had passed that message between the 3 centers, and the 3 centers knew exactly the muscles that were going to take to do it and how they modulated. They planned the whole thing, and they sent it down to the spinal cord where it gets sent out. Okay? And it knows how to do it. So when I told you to do this, I could not, before I did this and looked at it, I could not have told you what muscles did that. And even if I told you the muscles and I pointed to those muscles and say, do it by way of this muscle and that muscle, you won't be able to talk to your brain that way. And therefore, you won't accomplish it. Okay? You tell somebody to tighten that pectoralis major and a minor, and then make it tie in with the lower trapezius, and they'll get their chest in the right place, and they'll never forget that. But if you tell anybody to do it like that, I'll tell you the brain knew how to accomplish that. That's the message is sent down. See, that's volition. And that brings in the highest center. Now, here's what happens. The message comes down, widen here. Message gets, and then it gets passed down to the site in the spinal cord where that message has to go out to the muscles to accomplish it. When it comes from the brain, when it gets to the spinal cord, it does a thing. It branches 2 ways. The first branch, let's make the first branch the muscle that is going to do it. The muscle that's going to accomplish the goal is turned on, and the message goes to that muscle. And if it's a simple thing like bring your arm up like that, when that message gets there, you told your brain, when I told you to do that, you told your brain to do that. And when you did that, if you look, you can see that muscle contracted. That's because that muscle came up. But what you didn't see was in the brain and getting there second, as a second message. And the reason I say it gets there second, but we're not talking seconds. We're talking micros, we're talking these scientific spacing. The reason I say it gets there second is because anytime there's another neuron in the link, it takes just a little bit of time for those chemicals to get spread out before they send the next. So since this one goes straight there, this one has a break. It must be designed for the second muscle to relax. If there's a muscle that brings you this way, there's a muscle that takes you the other way, and he must relax. The brain sends not only a message to this one to contract, but the muscle that would fight it, it tells it to relax. So that's what we get. Just to show you what happened in our chest getting wide, when that muscle came down, when your chest is like that, this is the muscle that's contracting. This is the muscle that's relaxed, right? That's the reason he's too long. That's the reason he's shortened. Once you contract the muscles I told you to contract, this muscle becomes the contracted muscle, and that muscle relaxes. That's how we get the change, okay? Because it came down with the message. This one you're unconscious, and you don't know it, but your muscles on this side are tight. These muscles are soft. When I tell you how to exercise, I get these to strengthen, I get those to relax. That's what you'll see in that. These are stretching. they've been told to relax, because these back here have been told to contract. That area where it gets that switch around is called reciprocal inhibitory reflex. You can see it. It's reciprocating. If I told you to contract, I told you to relax. Reciprocal inhibitory reflex from volition. And I want to emphasize from volition, because now let's get you to feel it. Grab your arm right here, and we're going to do this. Lift your arm. You can see it too. Lift your arm up here, your hand up here, and look at the muscle that contracted on top. Then go down. Now, to make sure you feel it, here's reciprocal inhibitory reflex, because it works both ways. If I tell this one to go up, right, the muscles that pull it up contract. But now, when I tell it to go down, feel the muscles that pull the arm down, make the ones on the top relax. Just feel now watch it. Up. That got tight. The one on the bottom that pulls down only gets tight there. And there is your reciprocal inhibitory reflex. You're seeing it. Bam, bam, bam. You can also see it if you zoom in on these arms. You will see that this is bulging, that's relaxed, that's bulging, this relaxed. That's what's happening. Brain speak. Brain speak is just the motion. Brain speak isn't the muscle, name of the muscle. The brain isn't into the name of the muscle. The action. You will this arm to go down. It did what it took. It strengthened this one, told this one to relax. When you told it to go up here, it strengthened the reciprocal inhibitory reflex. Feel it. Ding, ding, ding. Okay? That's the body in action. Now, when I told you we in trouble, because it would seem if this is reciprocal inhibitory, causes reciprocal inhibitory reflex, okay? And we saw it. When you hold it up, this contracts, and when you pull it down, that contracts. Okay. Now let me give you another setting, okay? And it's going to be the belt, okay? That was the body exercises. This is going to be the belt. Put your hand, well, let me just show you what goes on, and then I'll take you through a drill way you can see part of it. Instead of holding your hand like this, I have just made you bump into a table. I told you to push your hand. So your hand was up like that, and I said, now push into a table. Look down at your arm, see your muscle up, and let me just get you to see it first. Push it. Did you see the muscle die? Okay, let me tell you what you just saw. That muscle relaxed when you pushed it, okay? Here's what happened. There is a stretch reflex, okay? One was for volition. This one is being initiated by stretch. It's called the stretch reflex. And now, none of this is coming from the brain. The brain can't intercede. This is strictly at the spinal level. So you don't get the feed from the brain here. You get the feed from a receptor. What happens is if you push your hand into a table or if you pull your hand back, when you were like this, when you pulled your hand, that muscle under the arm, right in there, got stretched. See, if you pulled here, that gets longer. Therefore, there's a stretch in there. This is called the stretch reflex. So there's a stretch. When you push that hand in there, you initiate a stretch. Okay? This is a spinal reflex. The stretched muscle is going to be pink. The muscle is being stretched. And the muscle, we're going to take it from pink to red, and it's going to be the same nerve. No, it's going to be the same muscle. They both go into the same muscle. Here's what's going to happen. Once you stretch that, there are receptors inside that muscle, right? There was a stretch, okay? Once there's a signal, there's a stretch. That signal goes as a sensory thing. I sensed a stretch. A sensory nerve sends a message to the spinal cord, same level where we got the other come in. It comes in as a sensory mode. This is where the neuron for the nerve is. the nerve is all down here. The nerve body is here. But that's just showing my illustration. The nerve comes in and it goes to a motor neuron. Okay? And here's what's going to happen. The sensory branches twice, just like it did before. The first one then hits the motor neuron coming back to that very same muscle, and it says, you've been stretched, contract, fight that. The stretch initiates a contraction in the same muscle. So the muscle that gets stretched gets contracted. Once he gets contracted, the same signal that told him to contract went to the muscle that was contracted in this setting. It goes, now the stretch is the information. It tells that one, don't fight that, relax. They got to fight on the other side. They stretch the other side, and the fight is now on the other side. And since it's contracting, reciprocal inhibitory reflex say, you got to relax. It's absolutely the opposite response. So if you take that, so that's what I'm showing you. And the way you can see it is, here it is, push it, and watch the muscle that was supposed to be pumped up, relax. And if you do it against the wall, I can't do it here because I can't push on anything. But when you got time, put your hand like that and do that, and then feel on the other side, and what you'll find out, the other side does contract. You can feel its contraction. So a stretch initiates a contraction. And so that makes a different thing. That makes it goes the opposite. The stretched muscle, right? The stretched muscle, which is in the front, okay? Now, the stretched muscle will be in the front. He's going to contract. And the relaxed muscle is just going to relax. If you pull on it, that's all it's doing. He pulls on these muscles in the front, and they're going to contract for you. They were contracting at the start, but since you stretched them, they're going to contract more. They're going to fight you. And the relaxed muscle is going to relax more. You're going to lose at the game. That may feel like you're getting the results you want, but you're losing. That's how we differ. Okay? And for you to see that is, I've already shown you. Put your hand here, look at the muscle that's contracting, and then pull it back. He is being, this one is contracting, right? And now I'm going to push into him, and he's going to relax. If that's what you were wanting, if you want to get the same thing from this, in other words, if this is your treatment, I'm telling you, this is your treatment. Yay, you got it. You learned how to do it. And then you decide, I don't want to do that. I want to put a strap on there and do the same thing. I think I'll pull it there. You're not getting the same thing. You made the stretch muscle contract, the muscle that was elongated because of the pull, you made him fight you. He's fighting you. Okay, now let's take it off that and make sure you see what I'm talking about. Everything is reversed though. Let's make sure you see what I'm saying. The wear of the strap. Read what the strap thinks they're doing. They will tell you that your collapsed chest right here is because that muscle is too tight. It's obvious these are not contracting. So this is how you start. With this collapse, because this is too tight, right? When we told you to do like that, then when that got tight, this was told to relax. Okay? Okay, that's what this did. Okay? But now, you think with your strap, right? You're going to go in here, and because you know you want to pull this way, you're going to put the strap on here and pull that down and back. And what's going to happen? That's going to tighten. Now, you may feel like something's going on there. It doesn't pull you back down. it just resists. It resists. And so you may feel like this area gave you what you wanted to, because you can feel something there and you say, I got that relaxing. No, you got that fighting you. You can't get the same. So your desire is to take the shoulder down and back. You bring the blade, because most people doing this think it's bring the shoulder blades together to lift your chest and get rid of the round back. That was your desire. That was the whole plan. What do you get in fact though? The halter pulls your shoulder down and back, stretching the pec minor, and therefore the pec minor contracts. The pec minor contracts, pulling the shoulder, fighting the pull, and in essence, pulling the shoulder and chest down again. But you can't see it because it doesn't get like you want it to see, but you're feeling it. The lower trapezius muscles then relax. Because if you got this contracting, that's going to relax, right? And number 3, I forgot that one. If you wear it a long time, this muscle, this strap right here, is pulling the traps, and the traps are relaxing because this is happening here, and you get into disuse atrophy. Because you don't, to get the back strong, you need the back muscles contracting. Now you told them to relax because you're pulling this way, and now you're pulling back, and so they don't have to pull you back because you put that strap is pulling you back. Disuse atrophy, you actually lose muscles. I hope I cleared that up for you. If that isn't as clear as I want it to be, look at it a second time and see if you understand it, and then let me know if you don't. That's in comments. But I think it's there for it to be seen. I thank my teachers for telling me to defend myself. I thank you for joining me. Please come again. Tell your family about it. Let me tell you the benefits of knowing how to get your shoulders wide and get you, because what you just did by the whole arrangement is you got your head to sit on top of your body. Okay? And what that did was, when your head is out here, you get your pains right out here. And when you do it like that, you take those muscles, and because they're being pulled, you gotta fight them. Then you pull back here, you put your head up, and it takes the pain out of your back. This, if you know somebody doing this, it's the erect posture. If you know somebody with lower back pain, it's the erect posture. And if you want a smaller waist, baby, it's the erect posture. Thank you for coming. Come again. Please subscribe. If this makes sense, subscribe, ring the bell, thumbs up, tell a friend and family about it. Come again. I can't answer. I can't stay a long time because this is long, and I want to teach you the exercise, but you have to come back and see if you understand it better. But that was the reflexes. Okay. Thank you very much for coming.